Hi, welcome to Far From Eden. We live in a society where men are not allowed to complain. You're not allowed to have men's rights or men's issues. If you start to say anything along those lines, you will have women that somehow think you're attacking them or removing rights from them, etc., etc. You guys know. You don't need me to tell you that. Unfortunately, this is, it's not just the women that are doing it, it's the laws and the media and everything that backs them. So it is shocking when we get a piece of, I guess we'll call it journalism, that actually addresses the fact that men do have issues that they face. Because guess what? Men are human. I came to that realization that men are human. No, I came to the realization that you're not being treated as human because your feelings don't matter. In fact, it's very rarely acknowledged that you even have feelings, which is absurd, absolutely absurd. You don't show them like women do. Therefore, they don't exist. And if they did exist, they're irrelevant. Obviously, this is sarcasm. So I came across a piece of journalism, as I said in quotation marks, that addresses men's issues, and it seems not in a defamatory way or derogatory way, and not turning it around to be about women, because it seems to always go that way, right? Because you guys are such oppressors. You can tell by the world around us what oppressors you are, by the comforts that we women have. But anyway, this was published in an online, I guess, publication, whatever you would call it. I'm not, I'm of the generation before articles were solely published online. And it's called Board Panda, which, okay. It was published January 13th of 2022. So it's a little old, but in the grand scheme of things, it's post 2020, and it's sort of in the same, not that much has changed for you guys in 2 years, sadly. But what it is someone asked, what are some men's issues that are overlooked? And there are 30 answers. 30 answers from men about what men's issues are overlooked. And that's what I want to hear. I want to hear from the men themselves. And you have to bear in mind that so many men are really unaware of the manosphere, red pill. Like, there are a lot of normies out there that just don't know. A lot of men that don't know. So some of these, I'm sure, are some of those men. So let's get into what these 30 answers are of what are the men's issues that are facing you guys. I've skimmed over it. I haven't read it in detail. Wanted to go through it with you guys. And I'm interested to see if you agree with these men, if you disagree, if you think some things are just trivial or, etc. I'd love to know what your feedback is. That way I can do a better job at bringing a voice to it. And again, my goal is at some point to be able to reach some women who are reachable at whatever level they are reachable. That's the end goal. I don't just want to scream out into the ether. I don't want to just do that. There needs to be a purpose. So, all right. More often than not, being a man comes with the expectation to act in a certain way. The toxic stereotype of the masculine macho guy tells us that they are supposed to be strong and unemotional. Sorry, just because you don't show it doesn't mean you're unemotional. You can't be emotional if you're an underwater welder. You can't be emotional as a roofer. You can't be emotional when you're, I don't even know how to say, but reactivating the power lines after a storm. You have to keep it in. Anyway, unemotional. As a result, thousands of men never speak about their feelings and fight problems like depression, loneliness, and low self-esteem in silence. Absolutely true. It's what I have found to be absolutely true. That is an understatement. So when user Slow Sky Incog 22 asked to share some men's issues that are often overlooked, Redditors quickly rolled up their sleeves. Yeah, I bet they were like, oh, someone cares, someone wants to hear. Yeah, I'll tell you. The thread went viral, collecting more than 41.8 thousand upvotes and 18,000 comments, and inspiring people to open up about how the male gender is a tough role to play. Well, thank goodness. And went viral. I mean, I didn't hear of it. And this is kind of, my space. So I wish it had gone actually viral. Take a look at some of the most illuminating answers Bored Panda has collected from the thread. Make sure to upvote the ones you agree with, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section below. I would say share your comments here so that I can learn from it. And also what I have found is it helps the other men because they read the comments. They might not be ready to comment themselves, but they hear from y'all's experience. And it helps them know they're not the only ones. I found that to be very helpful and very powerful for some of the men who have been suffering in silence for a long time. Number 1, I am a single father with primary custody of a school-age child with little support in my area. I was also the stay-at-home parent while I went back to college and completed my degree. It is damn near impossible to find good childcare. My female work friends volunteer, but then bail at the last minute. I'm looked at as a threat by husbands of my son's classmate parents. I'm looked at as a threat by husbands of my son's classmate parents. Okay, so the other husbands see him as a threat? Okay. I find that I'm often the only guy at the playground and get sideways glances from the cliques of women who go there. I know. Isn't that crazy? There are amusement parks that you cannot go to just as a single guy. Like, that is so sexist. Like, and to be an only guy because of the stereotype that has been pushed out there that you guys are predators. That's the default go-to mentality. That's where we get the man or bear thing, and they're choosing the bear. It's completely irrational, but it's this same mentality that, oh, here's a man who's by himself at a playground. He must be a creeper or some kind of a threat. And that's just because of this stereotype that somehow most men are dangerous and that most men would do harm to women and children. That is not the reality. If that were the reality, we would not have this high trust society. However, things are changing as borders being open and the change of demographics. Things are going to change in that way. But carrying on. Sorry, I lost my spot. If I hire a babysitter, I have to make sure I'm overly cautious about respecting boundaries. If I'm even able to have a babysitter watch my child. Also, the normal competition among female mothers gets amplified, and I'm often looked down on as a parent. I don't fit in with working guys who just want to go out and get a beer because I have a child to take care of, and women often reject me on online dating sites simply because I have a child. Well, trust me, thank the Lord above, because if those women are rejecting you because you have a child, that's because they don't want to share resources. So you're getting rid of those women, and that's a good thing. You don't want those women anyway. That's actually helpful. I love my son and would do anything in the world for him. I feel like I've done a lot, but men in my situation have zero to little support or infrastructure to manage as a single full-time parent in society. Men can be just as good parents as women, and society needs to normalize this pronto. Well, actually, if you look at statistics of single father households and single mother households, if you went by those statistics, you would have to draw a conclusion that not only can men be just as good of parents, they might be better. And I think they are. Number 2, men who are victims of SA, DV, male self-deletion rates, and depression. That's what he said. That's all he needed to say. That man knows what's up, I think. He knows what's up. Number 3, I saw a woman attempting to hit her boyfriend outside a local supermarket. He walked away from her. She followed him and kept hitting him. After this went on for about 90 seconds, he shoved her away roughly once. Self-defense, you know. 2 cars immediately stopped, and men jumped out of them, shouting at and threatening this guy for shoving her. Nobody did anything when she was attacking him. I reported the incident to the security guard. Both the man and the woman were bigger than me. I'm not a big, tough person. There are limits to what I would ever get physically involved in. Plus, when the other people jumped out of their cars, they could just as easily have targeted me if I got involved. I did what I could without endangering myself. Tell me what you guys think about that one. I know what my initial female thoughts are, and my female thoughts are, when it's the right thing to do, you do it. And even if you're smaller than a female, you're probably stronger than her. So you guys tell me what you think about that. I am not comfortable as a woman saying what that man should have done in that situation. As a woman, I am not expected to get into any kind of physical altercation. When I'm in a public or any kind of setting, it doesn't go in my mind that it could escalate to something physical. Whereas what I've learned from you guys is that men always know that that's where things inevitably escalate to. So I actually could learn a lot if you guys would tell me what you think he should have done in that situation. It's me selfishly just trying to get something out of that one to learn from you guys. Number 4. So I'm at the park playing tag with these kids I'm babysitting, and out of nowhere, this old lady comes up to me and starts asking all sorts of questions. Do you know these kids? What are their names? Can you call their parents for me? Even asking the kids if they know me. And when they answered yes, she responded with, you don't have to lie. If you don't know this man, you can tell me and I will help you. What? She's just looking for it. She's putting it in those kids' head. The kids were probably like, what? Like, why? The other way around would never have happened. Never have happened. Just even imagine. The audacity, not to steal Pearl's word, but the audacity of women to walk up. And she's asking these kids, she doesn't know these kids, and she's asking them a bunch of questions. Man, it's a good thing I don't go in public that often, because if I saw that happening, I would absolutely have words with that woman. Absolutely, I would. No question about it. Number 5, the miserable paternity leaves. Because what man wants to spend time with his newborn kid and a recovering wife, right? That's true. They just don't think that that's important for the man to bond with the baby and help his wife. Now, if you ask me, in my perfect world, we go way back to when families were families and her mother would be there, there would be sisters, the whole family would all help, right? Also, the man wouldn't have some career where he works for some boss. He would be, at most the town blacksmith or what have you, some kind of trade or cobbler or something. And I get it. It sounds a little nuts to say that, but when you ask yourself, well, because this is how I came to this, when you ask yourself, well, when did it go wrong? I kept having to go back and back in time. And it went wrong in the 19th century when, fathers started being pulled away from their families to go work for some boss in some factory rather than grow food and hunt for food on their family farm, etc. So something to think about. I understand that it's really out there. It's very Little House on the Prairie. It's very sort of Amish. But, it's important for families to be together. Number 6, loneliness. Many men tend to have a lot of friends, but never close friends or people they feel like truly care about them, which leads to declining mental health and maybe worse. Right. Well, they're allowed friends. I think if it's, approved friends, if the wifey poo approves them, your football friends, those aren't friends. You all need brotherhood. You need, the movie Stand By Me, those kids, and then they're bonding and then they all grow up and they're off separate. You guys should have that brotherhood, and you should have multiple brothers. So many of us have so few siblings. We should have many siblings and we should be close with them. And then you have people who know you, who love you, and who are always there for you. And men don't have anybody like that nowadays. They really don't. They know when push comes to shove, they're on their own. And as many of you have said to me, no one's coming to rescue you. Number 7, quote, "Sorry, man, we can't arrest her just because you have bruises and endless death threats. The prosecutor won't even file. It's really poopy, buddy. We know. You can't go back to your house. She's established residency and only a judge can order her to leave your property." Right? Although I will say this was 2 years ago, and I might have a little habit of watching cop cam videos. And what I have seen an uptick in recently, in the last 6 months-ish, is men going ahead and accusing, or not accusing, reporting the abuse that they're receiving from the female. They're starting to report it. And the cops are starting to believe them. They're not believing all women. It's so refreshing. It is happening. It is happening. Amber Heard just ruined that whole believe all women thing. Now we know men can be abused. And women can be abusers. Oh my gosh, I didn't believe the guy. The police confirmed it for me. Poor dude. I didn't even know we had this much power. The only option to get the person out of your house is a month-long process in court. Oh, a month, maybe more. A process she must legally be notified of while she barricades you out of your own home, destroying everything in your name. That's real bleep. Most guys won't go on TV like we will to tell the story. Sorry, dudes, we have a lot of power. All right, that was a little disjointed, but absolutely. You absolutely can and should report if you're being hit, because she's not allowed to do that. She's not allowed to do it. And the cops are starting to believe that men are telling the truth about it. They're seeing through the baloney lies and accusations that these women are making. Number 8, the entire child custody / child support system. Yes. And again, that's also beginning to change. They're starting to just do child support as just an equation where the dad's income, the mom's income gets tallied up, and they both pay accordingly, right? Proportionately. However, it isn't the case anymore like it was 10 years ago, or maybe even 5 years ago, where, oh, she doesn't work, so he pays all the child support. So he's basically funding her whole lifestyle with child support. Now she's being required to work at the highest level she can. So she has a degree and can get a certain level job. She has to go for that job. Otherwise, she is willfully unemployed or willfully underemployed. So judges are starting to enforce that and say, I'm sorry, sweetie, no more soft life. You have to pay up too. Number 9, abuse from women / other men. We're told, just take it and toughen up. It builds character, puts hair on the chest, etc. And we don't need support or a helping hand. F that. Agreed. Yeah. So often men's complaints about being abused are just cast aside. Again, like I said in the beginning, you're not treated as humans. But what I see is it's starting to change a little bit in the court system and with the police. We'll see if it continues to change or if they, undo that. And by they, I mean the overlords, because I think it's all, the puppet masters pulling strings, because they want, a feminized society, because it helps bring in their leftist ideologies. Number 9. Oops, sorry, I already said that one. Number 10, emotional abuse of men. My boyfriend suffered that in both his marriages, and I am so careful to not say or do anything that could make him feel that way, feel the way they made him feel. This is from a woman. I try very hard to be sure he knows I value him for who he is, just the way he is, every single day. Even he doesn't know how much damage they caused him. Amen, sister. Now, some of these horrible women, like the women who abused her boyfriend, are red pilling the other women. And I've said this in other videos. These women that are realizing what the other women did, they don't want to be like that. They learn by seeing how those bad women, those really bad women, treated their man. And now they're not only an advocate for him, but they know, oh gosh, if this happened to him, who else is it happening to? So that's a great thing. Now, I don't know anything else about this woman. I don't know her backstory. I don't know her, body count, any of that. But what I do know is the better women need to call out the bad ones. And that's how we'll make a shift, because no one's going to listen to you guys. No one's going to listen to the men. You guys can't really push back on this and get anywhere. You've been trying to, some organizations have been trying to since the late 70s. And I don't think it's gotten better. I think everything's gotten worse. So it's been my stance that, well, if the women are the ones that were the catalyst to create all these problems and issues for men, if we're the useful idiots for the government to disenfranchise you guys, then it's up to the ones who see the truth to push back and fight back with our voices, because that's what they use to get y'all in this situation. So it's up to us to expose the bad ones. And once they don't want to be seen as bad, they don't want to be, they they don't want to be made to look bad and made to look insensitive and horrible and all that stuff. They don't. And so the only people who can really call out the bad women are the not as bad women. That's where my hope is. And it's the only thing that I can really do, because I would consider myself one of the better ones, and therefore going to point out the things that the really bad ones do. But I'm always celebrating when I see another woman like this woman saying that what she saw with her boyfriend is something she never wants to do, ever. Oh, wow. She goes on. Okay, so the last thing she said was, even he doesn't know how much damage they caused him. I will never get over this 1950s assumption that women can't abuse men. I love her. Women abuse men way more often than anyone realizes, and the system is stacked against men in so many different ways. Love her. To the men who have been emotionally abused, I am sorry, and I would encourage all of you to seek therapy. It really does help. To the women who love them, don't stop loving them. Oh, I love her. It's funny, her username is OK Mathematician. It's funny. Maybe she thinks a little bit more like a man. She can see things factually. Sorry, guys, allergies are flaring up, so we'll just be slightly unprofessional for a moment. Number 11. Oh, this is a good one. Alexander Grace goes on about this a lot. Height is a common thing to joke about. Nobody sees a problem with it. But it can really whittle away at your self-worth when people always make fun of you for it. Yeah. It's not okay. It's not okay to, shame men for being short. It's nothing they did. And furthermore, there's all different height. There's all different height women. A 5-foot woman does not need a 6-foot man or a 5'8" man. 5-foot woman should get a 5'5" man or even shorter. My father was 5'5", is 5'5", and my mother 5'4". They were cute. One time they had their hoods up and they're in line for movie tickets, and they looked like little gnome people, and they were so adorable. And I never forgot that. And so I'm like, what is your problem that you need a 6-foot dude? Like, what is wrong with you? Sounds like the chicks are insecure if they need some 6-foot dude. What are you trying to prove? Anyway, I have to catch myself or I'll just go on a rant about these women. I'm sorry, getting fired up. Okay. Whew. Number 12. There are almost always more shelters available to women experiencing homelessness. Indeed. In my city, the split is about 75% beds for women and children and 25% for men. And how dumb is that? Because who are the mostly homeless people? The men. But the shelters are for the women. Yeah, sure. Kick the man out of his house, take his money, and then go, oh, there's no shelters for you also. I understand that society considers women more vulnerable, but I live in a city where it routinely gets below 0 in the winter. Hypothermia doesn't care about your gender. That's true. Women are more vulnerable to different temperatures, which is why we don't, if we're going to say, okay, on one hand, women are more vulnerable, well, then why are you saying that women are equal to men? Why are you saying that women should be able to do all these same jobs, et cetera, et cetera? Like they want it both ways so often. Oh, it's frustrating. Okay, this is number. Oh, we also contacted Timothy Winger, the founder of The Man Effect. According to him, quote, there are many influencing factors as to why men are often silent when they are struggling emotionally. Oh, he goes on to say, I find that it is highly dependent on the macro and micro social settings that one is raised in, he told Board Panda. When it comes to the micro, this could range from the family setting you grow up in, your parental figures or friends. From a macro perspective, how does your society as a whole perceive a man who is not mentally perfect? Nobody's mentally perfect. Wenger asked, assessing those types of influences can reveal a significant amount of insight into one's own life if the time is taken to do a self-assessment. All right. I didn't really say anything there, so okay, whatever. All right, number 13. Society doesn't seem to support a man who is without a job. There is pressure and programming for a male to be a breadwinner and no sympathy for when they want to be a house dad. Reason for my rant. My brother left a job due to a health issue. He has a 4-year-old boy. His wife makes better money than him, and they are financially secure. He worked too much, which probably led to the health issue. I told him to take his time and heal. If he felt that urge to provide, that he could take over the house duties and give the nanny the summer off to connect with his son. I shared with him that I had been laid off a few times, and each time I rushed back to getting a job, even though we were secure enough because of the guilt I felt every day for not, quote, providing. He took the advice. I could see him smiling more. Aww. He started a garden with his boy. He cooked every meal and realized he loved to cook. I was happy to see him being happy again. Enter my brother's wife, who says to us, I'm the only breadwinner now. I'm so stressed out having to provide for this family by myself. Then why'd you get a job? Why weren't you the stay-at-home mom in the first place? I saw the happiness drain from him and anxiety filled that place. He is now set to start the same job he had prior, just to appease the guilt he has from not, quote, earning. The guilt was confirmed by his wife's statement on top of the male programming of not contributing unless he is making money. You know, I feel like they skipped over a huge part of this. This man became ill. He needed to step back from that job he was doing because of his health. This wife doesn't seem to give a flying flip about that. Not at all. It's just all the pressure she feels. La 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 la. So forget if the kid is doing better. Forget if the husband is healthier. You know what I think too? I think he's a way better stay-at-home parent, obviously, than she would ever be. Goodness gracious. Just so sad. You know, so many times men are in these marriages and something happens like that, and they realize, oh, yeah, I'm not loved. And so many times, you're not. You're useful. And when you're no longer useful in the way they want you to be, and that could change at any time, the way the wind blows, then it's obvious. And they don't leave. They don't tend to leave because they don't want to lose their children. And if you don't think that this heartless woman who doesn't care that this man is ill and needs to take a step back from that job, thinks she's going to not take that kid away, I'd be shocked if she didn't. Goodness gracious. Number 14. Insecurity in general. You're not supposed to show that you have doubts or worries about your abilities or self-image. A man is supposed to be confident, able, and self-assured. It's not okay for men to admit that they lack self-esteem or that they have genuine problems with their self-image, as they are seen as weaknesses in and of themselves. Other men or women aren't going to bring you up. They won't provide emotional support and tell you it's okay to be unconfident or to feel shame about who you are. They will simply expect that you should take it on the chin. Not everyone can be that guy. But for a man, what actually makes you feel like a man is being that guy. So you kind of walk around pretending that you're happy, despite the fact that you're not seen as valuable or as desirable as other men, because in doing so, you would be seen as even less valuable or desirable. Wow. If you feel like blank and are insecure, it's bad. But if you display that you feel like blank and are insecure, it's even worse. F. I've even really been able, I'm sorry, I've never really been able to put that feeling into words before, but that felt insanely good to get off my chest. That is so sad and absolutely true. And here's my take on it. Why? Why is it like this? 2 reasons. You're supposed to get that unconditional love from your mother growing up. That unconditional love. She's not supposed to be, fulfilling her dreams. She's supposed to be a mother, and she's supposed to give you that unconditional love that that even with whatever mess up you have or insecurities you have, you're always loved. Then, from your wife, you're supposed to be able to voice these things to her. She is a safe place for all of those doubts and everything. And she says, no, I believe in you. I know you guys are like, what world is this? The world it's supposed to be. I think we had what is a woman, we need what is a wife. Because a wife isn't just a married lady. A wife speaks power into her husband. He knows, hey, this little lady believes in me. Without pressure and those sorts of things, just believes in you. And is absolutely forgiving when you fall short, because everyone falls short. And this love thing that we talk about shouldn't be conditional. It's not conditional. Otherwise, it's not love. So yeah, y'all don't have those things. So you're going around empty all the time, running on empty. And you're not even allowed to say it, as he puts so well. Number 15, radicalization. Jojo Rabbit is such a sweet film about this. I'm probably messing up that name. Jojo Rabbit is such a sweet film about this. There are a lot of young, lonely, and understandably angry men and boys who are targeted by extremist groups. Targeted by extremist groups into that kind of fail-safe ideology. You can almost see it happening. I don't know if that made sense, but I don't know what kind of extremist groups they're talking about, unless it's some of the other articles we've read, like saying that incels are an extremist group. Good Lord. Nope. Number 16. Crushing, black, empty, cold, never-ending, screaming into the void, loneliness, and everyone's casual shrug when I even hint about it. Oh my God. Oh, that hurts. Just work, pay taxes, walk the dog, keep your mouth shut, don't have feelings, don't be short, try to keep up appearances of virility, and never ever, whatever you do, don't let anyone know how lonely you are, because they'll just sort of awkwardly giggle and change the subject. Oh my God. Yeah. Number 17, men are frequently treated as expendable. Yep. They always have been. Even in countries with mingled militaries, men are the overwhelming majority of combat troops and thus casualties. Not to mention, pretty much all child soldiers are male. Oh my God, child soldiers. If you are male between the ages of 14 and 60 and happen to be anywhere near a combat zone, even if it's your own backyard, you are considered a military-age male and a possible target. Yeah, and who says you're a military-age male? The people waging the war. Who are those people? It's not you guys. It's the different governments in the world. And why do they want to wage this war? What's in it for them? Those are questions to ask to say, who is actually behind that? Now, should the people who are never going to be called up to go fight vote on whether we're going to be in a situation to go fight? I don't think so. That just seems obvious to me. But Hillary Clinton did say that women are the true victims of war. So, ugh, I feel gross just saying that out loud. News media regularly says things like 100 killed, including 14 women and children. I know, as if they're more valuable. Oh, whoops. As if the other 86 men don't matter as much. Something like 90% of all workplace injuries and fatalities are male. Whether men seek out more dangerous jobs or only men are selected for those jobs is debatable. Only men can do those jobs. And they are, they're willing to do the hard stuff, to sacrifice so the rest of society can have things better. And, and then they get told that, a bear is preferable to them. I don't know how long men are going to put up with it. I really don't. I don't know how long they're actually going to put up with it. When are they going to say, you know what? I don't feel like going to the oil rig today. What's it for? I don't feel like turning the power back on. I mean, it's understandable, right? Number 18, the consequences of body shaming. It has the same effect on men as it does women. No one likes to be insulted, no matter who you are. Just because we are a different sex does not mean our minds are so vastly different that we react differently to even the most basic things. Right, y'all have feelings. What a shock. Some women think we are emotionless, meant to serve them. Sorry if I had worded this wrong. Oh, he apologized for this poor man. Tell me, oh my gosh, tell me you're beaten down without telling me you're beaten down. Sir, you worded it just fine. You worded it perfectly, unlike me trying to say that. Goodness. Oh, if you ever bring up male-centered issues in conversations with women, it always turns into, well, at least you don't have it as bad as women. Or, well, women deal with X, so why are you complaining? Or my personal favorite, yeah, well, then change it. It only happens because of the patriarchy. Yep, that's exactly what I said in the beginning. They just turn it around. Absolutely unfeeling. Number 20, male disposability. If something is dangerous, send men. Your partner can replace you easily. Your only value is what you offer to other people. And the minute you are not useful anymore, people cast you aside like the fungible commodity you are. I would like to be treated like I have inherent value as a person, not like I'm something to be tolerated until I'm no longer useful. Very good. Very good. Very well said. Number 21, isolation. I've felt this myself, and I've done some reading about it. Men tend to become more isolated and lonely as they get older. Yes. After a certain point, they don't make an effort to gain friendships and tend to shy away from any type of social engagement. I feel this way because as of right now, I don't have a close male friend. At least not someone I can talk to about things going on with me personally. I know a lot of people, but I'm less and less engaged with them as each year passes. It concerns me as of late because I don't want to end up a hermit. But without a solid relationship, I could see myself headed this direction in my older years. Right. He should have brothers. He should have grandchildren. He should have children. Shouldn't be alone. Should have those childhood friends. But career pulls you away. Why do you have a career? You got to support the family. You got to support this giant mortgage. All of this stuff is built up to pull men away, isolate them, use them to pay taxes and fund all this. Oh, number 22, the lack of a good support system. Just because a guy has people that he hangs out with doesn't mean he's comfortable telling them serious personal issues. We're hearing this one over and over again, aren't we? The loneliness and isolation. Yep. And I've said to you guys over and over, human beings are not meant to be solo creatures. We're social creatures. And I mean, what is one of the biggest punishments you can give a person? Solitary confinement. Number 23, prostate cancer is second only to skin cancer in men. See, I didn't even know that. And I should know that. Lots of money goes to breast cancer research, but how much goes to prostate cancer? I mean, it's not even close. The breast cancer this, breast cancer that. Football players wearing pink for breast cancer. It's like, when are they, let the girls wear the pink. Terrible. Terrible. Okay, number 24. Easy. Look at the case where the guy got banned from Twitch when his computer rebooted and logged him in as he was walking past in his boxers. The same time, a cam girl accidentally didn't log out of Twitch and did a full strip on stream. She didn't get banned. In fact, she got a few sponsors for it. Wow. I had not heard of that story, but of course. Oh yeah. Any kind of indecent exposure, although I don't know if this society even acknowledges anything being indecent anymore. Well, they will if a man does it. See, I just proved my point. But a woman, women walk around half naked all the time. Imagine if a man, wore booty shorts and a half top outside of a rainbow parade. Good luck. Good luck with that. Number 26, male pattern baldness and the impact it can have on mental health and body image. Imagine being in college surrounded by guys with perfect NW1 hairlines. I don't know what that is. With all these cool fades and modern trendy hairstyles while you're stuck looking like Moby or Varys from Game of Thrones. Brutal. The worst part is nobody really talks about it. It's a very hidden and taboo issue that many men go through, but society refuses to truly address, so they are forced to suffer in silence. Jim Jeffries has a bit on this. He talks about he's done hair transplants and all kinds of things, and he is a hair transplant and he has to take the medicine continually, or his hair will start to fall out. But women can just wear wigs. A man can't wear a toupee or a wig without it being, laughed at, socially acceptable to laugh at, etc. But women get extensions, wear wigs all the time, and it's celebrated. But, Jada, look at what happened with the Jada Pinkett Smith ordeal. I made a tiny little joke, and all heck broke loose. Yeah, that's absolutely a thing. Number 27. I work at a psychiatric hospital, and out of the 13 wards, only 3 are for women. Only 3 are for women. The huge problem to face men is mental illness, and most, if not all, patients are there because they kept taking drugs as well. Well, yeah, they're self-medicating, right? All of this horrible pain goes somewhere. And I'm not excusing, substance abuse and, self-medicating in that way. But I understand people can only take so much. Number 28, in Western culture, men are defined by what they do, not by who they are. So when they retire, they often develop mental illness because they are no longer doing. This often leads to self-deletion. Then there's the whole nonsense of the stoic, emotionless man getting on with the work. Yeah, well, again, who does that benefit? Taxpayers, tax collectors, the government, the powers that be. And the powers that be use the women to disenfranchise the men and push them to work. But it does look like it's, men versus women. And it is, but also why? Why? Because it's advantageous. to some puppet masters. Just my tinfoil wearing hat, idea. Number 29, you can't cry. You can't have emotional issues. You are supposed to know the answer to all problems. Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous expectation. You would never have that expectation on women. Although women would probably claim that that expectation is on them, they would not be able to back it up. They could say they feel like that's on them. It's only because they're putting themselves in a man's world and they're competing with men doing man things when they should be, in my humble opinion, and I would never enforce this on anybody or make a law for it, but in my opinion, the better place for a woman, for her talents and her gifts and for her own happiness is within her family. Now, women are being raised and have been being raised the last several generations to where they're programmed in such a way and exposed to so much to where they covet outside of that. And it prevents that from fulfilling them because they see fulfillment as pleasurable experiences, materialism, competition with others. There was a time when we didn't know any of that. We just saw what was in front of us and focused on that rather than what so-and-so's doing, what so-and-so's doing, or what all this that it could be. Well, all this that it can be, that's all baloney. Just look at all the women that are filing for divorce that think it's going to be so much better. And there's going to be this hot guy, even though she's like, 57 or, 42 or whatever. And she's going to file for divorce. And the next guy is going to love her kids just as much as she does. And she's going to, travel Europe and retire in Greece. And like, what are you talking about? Like, where did you get that from? That's not going to happen. But they think that because they saw it on TikTok, honestly. Number 30, fashion options. When I get ready to go somewhere nice, I find a dress shirt and tie, perhaps jacket. Comb my hair in one style I can as it's cut to that style. Choose between brown or black shoes, belt to match, and maybe add a watch. My wife picks a shirt on or off the shoulder, low cut or high, pants or skirt, short or long. Stockings or not, shoes open or closed, tall or short heel. She can wear her hair up or down or a combination. Bracelets, necklace, earrings, makeup, and perfume. One could argue that these choices complicate her life, but I beg to differ. She has the options to be who she wants to be at the time, to garner more attention or less, draw attention or stand out less. I get to look the same as I do at every wedding, funeral, or night out. Wow, I never thought about that before in that way. Yeah, well, isn't that just an example of the options that women have? She can work or not work. She can be a stay-at-home mom or not a stay-at-home mom. She could be a mother or not. And none of those decisions are wrong. It's whatever. It's just whatever her little heart desires. Men do not have those options. So the fashion choices are, like, in my opinion, an analogy of the greater choices that we either have or don't have in this world. And men don't have the options that women have. They're not granted those things. So it's, these men, at least they had one opportunity to say what was on their hearts and minds without immediate judgments, without being called a name, without being called a terrorist, without being called a misogynist, etc. Because any other scenario, that's what you're going to get called. And you're going to be belittled, emasculated, the whole thing. And then you're going to get told that it's all your fault. And it's, it's also the patriarchy, blah, 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 blah. But much like one of the presidential candidates, they can't give specifics because it's baloney. It's complete baloney. It just sounds like it's something. I don't even know if they know it's baloney because really a lot of it is just regurgitating the propaganda that has been put in their minds over the years by media, movies, even commercials. It all has a message. It's all propaganda, and it has been since the beginning of the 20th century, when they had the means to do it. Even New York Times. So thank you guys. I really want to know what you think about what these men have said, especially the ones that we haven't really, these issues that we haven't talked about. Wow, it just, it's depressing. It's sad. But I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. As long as there's a breath in my body, I will keep voicing these concerns, because I know that as a woman, more people listen to me. And it's a lot harder for them to call me the names. They can call me a pick-me. They can say I have internal misogyny, whatever that. It's a lot harder for them to accuse me of being, an evil whatever. So even if it's one person at a time, I'll do it. So I want you guys to make sure that you feed your souls. I want you guys to make sure you protect your peace. It's important. Nobody else is going to do it. They want to take it away. This whole society, government, and other women, and some other men. Because let's face it, these women can't do what they're doing without male enablers. So I want you to protect that peace. And know that you deserve to have peace. It's not too much to ask at all. It's bare minimum. So please do that. Okay? I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one.